My name is Martin, and I'm 62 years old. After working as an engineer for decades, I thought retirement would be peaceful. When my health declined after losing my wife, my daughter Amanda, and her husband Tyler invited me to stay with them. I never expected what happened next. On my birthday, after months of tension, Amanda looked me in the eyes and said those words I can't forget. "You're a burden." That night, I found myself homeless. But what they didn't know was that I still controlled our finances. Let me know where you're watching from and hit subscribe if you've ever been taken for granted by family, because sometimes the most painful lessons come from those we love most. I spent 40 years building a successful career as a petroleum engineer. The work was demanding but rewarding, allowing me to provide comfortably for my family and build a solid retirement nest egg. My wife Eleanor was the light of my life for 35 beautiful years. We met in college, married young, and built our dreams together one brick at a time. Eleanor was a kindergarten teacher beloved by generations of children in our community. She had a way with people that I always admired, warm, intuitive, and genuinely caring. When Eleanor suffered a sudden stroke 2 years ago, my world collapsed. The doctors did everything they could, but after 3 agonizing days in the ICU, I had to make the decision no spouse ever wants to make. Holding her hand as she slipped away was the hardest moment of my life. The grief hit me harder than I expected. Living alone in our family home became unbearable. Every room, every corner held memories. 6 months after losing Eleanor, my body seemed to give up too. I suffered a mild heart attack while mowing the lawn, followed by complications that affected my mobility temporarily. Nothing permanent, the doctors assured me, but I needed time to recover. Our daughter Amanda was our only child. We had wanted more children, but complications after her birth made that impossible. Perhaps that's why we poured everything into giving her the best life possible. Private education from kindergarten through high school music lessons, summer camps, college, without student loans. We happily provided it all. I was so proud when she graduated with honors and landed a job at a prestigious marketing firm. Now at 36, she's a marketing executive for a national retail chain. Amanda married Tyler 7 years ago. He works as a financial advisor at a mid-sized firm. I remember writing the check for their lavish wedding, nearly $40,000, without hesitation. Eleanor and I were thrilled to give them the perfect start to their marriage. My grandchildren became my world after Eleanor died. Sophia, now 6, inherited her grandmother's artistic talent and kind heart. Lucas, 4, is all curiosity and energy. Those kids were my reason to keep going during the darkest days. After my heart attack, Amanda suggested I sell the family home and move in with them temporarily while recovering. "It makes sense, Dad," she said. "We have that guest suite on the first floor, and the kids would love having you around more." The idea of being closer to my grandchildren was appealing, and the doctors had advised against living alone during recovery. So I sold our home of 30 years, putting most of the furniture in storage and the proceeds in my investment accounts. From the beginning, I tried to be generous without overstepping. I contributed $2,000 monthly toward household expenses, though they never asked for it. I paid for groceries frequently and covered the children's private school tuition as a gift. When their refrigerator died unexpectedly, I replaced it with a top-of-the-line model the next day. I wanted to show my appreciation for opening their home to me. Looking back, I should have noticed the early tension with Tyler. He would make offhand comments about temporary arrangements becoming permanent, or ask pointed questions about my investment portfolio. But I was still grieving. Eleanor focused on my health recovery, and so grateful to be near my grandchildren that I brushed these moments aside. I believed we were family supporting each other through difficult times. I couldn't have been more wrong. I tried to settle into my new life in Amanda's home as smoothly as possible. The guest room was comfortable enough, though smaller than what I was used to. I kept my possessions minimal. Just clothes, a few books, my laptop, and framed photos of Eleanor and family vacations from happier times. I was determined not to intrude more than necessary on their space. Every morning I'd wake early, a habit from decades of work, and quietly make coffee, careful not to wake anyone. Often, I'd prepare breakfast for everyone before they got up, pancakes, shaped like animals for the kids, or Eleanor's famous egg casserole that Amanda had loved growing up. At first, these gestures were met with genuine appreciation. "Dad, you didn't have to do this," Amanda would say, smiling as she rushed to get the kids ready for school. I found ways to contribute around the house. When the garbage disposal jammed, I fixed it before Tyler could call a repairman. When the back deck needed resealing, I spent a weekend doing it myself, saving them hundreds in contractor fees. I taught Lucas to ride his bike in the driveway and helped Sophia with her reading. Those moments with my grandchildren were precious beyond words. But around the 3-month mark, I noticed a shift. My breakfast preparations went from being appreciated to being critiqued. "The kids really shouldn't have so much sugar in the morning, Dad," Amanda would say, scraping my pancakes into the trash. Or Tyler would remark, "We usually just grab protein bars. It's more efficient." The first truly hurtful moment came when I overheard Tyler talking to Amanda in their bedroom one evening. Their door was ajar, and I was walking past to get to the bathroom. "How much longer is your dad planning to stay?" Tyler asked, irritation evident in his voice. "I don't know," Amanda replied. "His doctor says he's recovering well. It's been almost 4 months. I thought this was temporary. I feel like I'm living with my father-in-law permanently, and I didn't sign up for that." I froze in the hallway, my chest tightening with hurt. Amanda's response was what really cut deep. "I know, babe. It's frustrating for me, too. I love him, but it's like having a third child sometimes." I quietly retreated to my room, unsure how to process this betrayal. The next morning, I casually mentioned looking at apartments nearby. The relief on Tyler's face was unmistakable. "That's great, Martin. I know a real estate agent who specializes in senior communities. Should I give her your number?" The term senior communities stung. I was only 62 and fully capable of living independently now that my health had improved. But I nodded and forced a smile. Amanda's attitude continued to deteriorate. If I used the washing machine on her schedule, she would sigh dramatically. If I watched TV in the living room, Tyler would suddenly need to work there. The kitchen became a particular battleground. Any dish left unwashed for even a few minutes would elicit passive-aggressive comments. "Dad, we have a system here," became Amanda's refrain whenever I tried to help with household chores. The children still adored our time together, but increasingly, Amanda found reasons to limit it. "Sophia has a play date," or "Lucas needs a nap," or "We're trying to limit screen time," when I suggested watching a movie together. Several times I offered financial help beyond my monthly contribution. When their air conditioning unit needed expensive repairs, I immediately offered to cover it. They accepted my money, but Tyler's thanks felt hollow, as if I was merely fulfilling an obligation rather than being generous. When Tyler's friends came over for dinner parties or to watch sports, I became invisible. Once a friend asked who I was, and Tyler replied, "Amanda's dad. He's staying with us for a while." Not even using my name. I wasn't introduced to anyone, just left to hover at the periphery before eventually retreating to my room. I began spending more time alone, out of their way. My room became both sanctuary and prison. I'd read books, video chat with old colleagues, or take long walks around the neighborhood. My health was significantly improved. The heart medication was working well, and my mobility was back to normal. Physically, I was ready for independence again. Emotionally, I was increasingly isolated under my daughter's roof. By month 5, I was actively looking at apartments. The search was bittersweet. I looked forward to having my own space again, but dreaded being further from my grandchildren. Would I still see them regularly? The uncertainty gnawed at me. Still, I kept my apartment hunting to myself, not wanting to appear too eager to leave and potentially hurt Amanda's feelings, though it seemed clear now that my departure was eagerly anticipated. It was during this tense period that I accidentally overheard a conversation that would lead to my fateful decision. Amanda and Tyler were in their home office, with the door partially open, their voices carrying more than they realized. "We just can't afford it this year," Amanda said, sounding defeated. "Between the kids' tuition increase and the roof repair, there's no way." "I know," Tyler replied. "But we promised the kids Hawaii this summer. Sophia's been talking about swimming with dolphins for months. The flight alone is over $5,000, then the resort for 10 days. We're looking at nearly $20,000. The credit cards are already maxed out." I stepped quietly away, an idea forming. Despite everything, I loved my daughter and adored my grandchildren. Perhaps a generous gift would help repair our strained relationship. A luxury family vacation to Hawaii my treat. It would also be the perfect opportunity to announce I'd found an apartment and would be moving out soon. A new chapter for everyone. The next day, while they were at work and the kids at school, I contacted a travel agent I'd used for business trips years ago. Margaret was delighted to hear from me and enthusiastic about planning a special family getaway. "First-class tickets for 4, she confirmed. "Absolutely," I said. "And the best suite at that resort on Maui with the children's program. The one with the dolphin experience." We spent 2 hours planning every detail. Private airport transfers, pool view suite, special excursions for the kids, even a private dinner on the beach. The total came to just over $20,000, which I paid in full immediately. I requested physical gift certificates and documents to present as a surprise. The vacation was scheduled for 6 weeks later, coinciding with the kids' summer break. Margaret arranged everything beautifully, sending me an elegantly packaged set of documents, including replica boarding passes and resort vouchers, tied with a Hawaiian-themed ribbon. I hid the package in my closet, anticipating the perfect moment to present it. That moment, I decided, would be my birthday, just 2 weeks away. I'd cook a special family dinner, announce my plans to move into an apartment I'd been viewing, and then surprise them with the Hawaiian vacation as a parting gift. And thank you for hosting me during my recovery. As my birthday approached, I dropped subtle hints mentioning I was planning to cook something special. Amanda seemed distracted, but nodded. "Sure, Dad, whatever you want." Tyler barely acknowledged the conversation. The day before my birthday, I went grocery shopping, selecting ingredients for Eleanor's famous pot roast, Amanda's favorite childhood meal, along with fresh vegetables and ingredients for a chocolate cake. I spent over $200 on food and wine, wanting everything to be perfect. That evening, I carefully set the dining table with the good china Amanda had stored away and placed a small birthday cake I'd bought for myself on the counter. No one had mentioned my birthday, but I remained hopeful they were planning some small acknowledgement. My birthday dawned bright and clear. I received phone calls from several old friends and former colleagues, but nothing from Amanda or Tyler before they left for work. "They'll celebrate with me tonight," I told myself. Pushing down my disappointment, I spent the day cooking the familiar routine of preparing Eleanor's recipes, bringing bittersweet comfort. By 6 o'clock, everything was ready. The pot roast was perfect, the vegetables roasted to caramelized sweetness, the mashed potatoes creamy and light, just how Amanda liked them. The dining room table was set beautifully with small wrapped gifts for everyone beside their plates. The Hawaii vacation package was hidden in a larger gift box in the living room. 6 o'clock came and went. No sign of the family. I texted Amanda, "Dinner's ready whenever you are." At 6:30, I received a brief reply, "Running late. Work thing." I kept the food warm, my excitement dimming by the minute. At 7:45, I heard their car in the driveway. My heart lifted. Finally, we would celebrate together. I straightened my shirt. I'd dressed nicely for the occasion, and went to greet them at the door. The front door swung open before I reached it. Amanda entered first, her face tight with stress, followed by Tyler looking equally tense. The children trailed behind, unusually subdued. "Welcome home," I said warmly. "Dinner's ready. I made your favorite pot roast." Amanda barely glanced at me as she dropped her purse on the entryway table. "Oh, we already ate. Tyler had a client dinner, and we met him at the restaurant." The words hit me like a physical blow. "Oh, I see." I paused, then added quietly, "It's my birthday today." Amanda froze momentarily, then offered a dismissive, "Oh, right. Happy birthday, Dad." Tyler gave an uncomfortable nod, not meeting my eyes. "Happy birthday, Martin." Sophia ran up and hugged my legs. "Happy birthday, Grandpa. Did you get presents?" "Sophia, go wash up and get ready for bed," Amanda said sharply. "But Mom, it's Grandpa's birthday," Lucas protested. "Now both of you," Tyler added firmly. As the children reluctantly headed upstairs, I stood there, the carefully planned evening crumbling around me. The dining room was visible from the entryway, the beautiful table setting candles, unlit food growing cold. "I thought we could have a family dinner," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "I also have some news to share, and a surprise for all of you." Amanda sighed heavily. "Dad, we're really tired. It's been a long day. Can this wait?" "It's about me finding an apartment," I pressed on. "And I wanted to give you something special as a thank you for an apartment finally," Tyler muttered, not quite under his breath. Something in me snapped at his tone. "I've been looking for weeks. I found a nice place about 20 minutes from here." Amanda crossed her arms. "That's great, Dad. We should talk about the logistics tomorrow. Tonight we really just need what, Amanda?" I asked, hurt, turning to a rare anger. "Time without your burdensome father around." Her face flushed. "That's not fair." "Isn't it? I've tried everything to be helpful and unobtrusive. I've contributed financially. I've fixed things around the house. And we've given you a place to stay for months longer than we expected." Amanda's voice rose. "Do you have any idea how stressful it's been? Having to watch what we say in our own home, having our routines constantly interrupted. Tyler and I never get any privacy anymore." I stepped back, stunned by her outburst. "The truth is," she continued, her words rushing out now, "you've become such a burden, Dad. We didn't sign up for this when we offered to let you stay during your recovery. Your recovery ended months ago, but you're still here taking up space, using our utilities, eating our food." "I pay for most of the groceries," I said quietly, "and give you $2,000 monthly for expenses." Tyler stepped forward, "Which barely covers the added costs of having another person in the house. Do you know how much our water bill has increased? Our electricity?" I could barely believe what I was hearing. "I thought we were family helping each other." "Family helps each other temporarily," Amanda said coldly. "Not by moving in permanently and disrupting everything. The kids are confused about authority because you undermine our parenting. You rearrange things in the kitchen. You're always there when we want to relax after work." "You caused your own health problems, you know," Tyler added. "If you'd exercised more and watched your diet like the doctor told you years ago, you might not have had the heart attack in the first place." That cruel statement left me speechless. Eleanor and I had always been health conscious. The heart attack came from grief and stress, not neglect. The children had crept halfway down the stairs and were listening wide-eyed to the argument. Seeing them, Amanda lowered her voice but doubled down. "We need our lives back, Dad. You need to find your own place immediately. I just told you I found an apartment," I said, my voice shaking. "Good. You should move there tomorrow." Tyler's voice was cold and final. "We think it's best if you leave tonight, actually. There's a Holiday Inn just down the highway. Tonight on my birthday." "You want me to go to a hotel on my birthday?" I couldn't process what was happening. "We need a break, Dad," Amanda said, looking away. "Just pack what you need for a few days. You can come back for the rest of your things once you're settled in your new place." My chest tightened painfully, and for a moment I feared another heart attack. But it was just my heart breaking. I looked at the daughter I had raised, the daughter I had sacrificed for the daughter I still loved, despite this moment, and saw only a cold stranger. Without another word, I turned and went to my room. With shaking hands, I packed an overnight bag, clothes, medications, toiletries, my laptop, and the framed photo of Eleanor. I could hear Tyler and Amanda whispering in the hallway, then the sound of the television turning on, as if this was just another normal evening for them. As I zipped my bag closed, there was a soft knock on my door. I opened it to find Sophia and Lucas, tears in their eyes. "Don't go, Grandpa," Sophia whispered, hugging me fiercely. I knelt down to their level. "I have to for now, sweetheart, but I'll see you soon, I promise." "Why are Mom and Dad mad at you?" Lucas asked. "Sometimes grown-ups have disagreements," I said, choosing my words carefully. "But I want you both to know that I love you very much, and nothing will ever change that." I hugged them both, memorizing the feeling of their small arms around my neck, wondering when I would hold them again. When I emerged with my bag, Amanda and Tyler were on the couch watching TV, acting as if nothing unusual was happening. The beautiful dinner I'd prepared sat abandoned in the dining room. "I'll be in touch about getting the rest of my things," I said formally. Amanda nodded without looking up from her phone. "Drive safely." Those were the last words my daughter said to me as I walked out the door of her house homeless on my birthday, the $20,000 vacation surprise still hidden in my closet. I sat in my car in their driveway for several long minutes, too shocked to drive. 62 years old, recently recovered from a heart attack, and suddenly homeless. Not because of financial hardship or natural disaster, but because my own daughter had thrown me out on my birthday. My hands trembled on the steering wheel as I finally backed out of the driveway. Where would I go? The Holiday Inn. Tyler had so callously suggested was an option, but the thought of explaining my situation to the front desk clerk filled me with shame. How had my life come to this? I drove aimlessly for nearly an hour, tears occasionally blurring my vision. Finally, practicality won out over emotion, and I pulled into the parking lot of a Marriott hotel, about 15 miles from Amanda's house. The young woman at the reception desk didn't ask questions when I requested a room for a few nights, though she did look curiously at my lack of luggage beyond a small overnight bag. The room was clean, but soulless. Beige walls, generic artwork, the faint smell of industrial cleaner. I sat on the edge of the bed, still in my birthday dinner clothes, and tried to make sense of what had happened. The weight of rejection pressed down on me until I could barely breathe. I reached for my phone and saw missed calls from several friends who had wished me happy birthday earlier. I couldn't bear to explain my current situation, so I let their voicemails go unanswered. Instead, I pulled up my photos and scrolled to pictures of Eleanor. What would she have said about tonight? What would she advise me to do? Sleep was impossible. I paced the small hotel room, replaying every interaction with Amanda and Tyler over the past months, seeing the warning signs I'd willfully ignored. The gradual exclusion from family decisions, the increasingly frequent suggestions about moving out, the way they accepted my financial contributions while resenting my physical presence. How had I missed what now seemed so obvious? Around 2 in the morning, my phone buzzed with a text message. My heart leapt, hoping it was Amanda with an apology. Instead, it was my old friend, Richard. "Happy birthday again, old friend. How was the family dinner?" Something broke inside me. I called him immediately, not caring about the late hour. "Martin, what's wrong?" Richard's voice was alert despite the time. The whole story poured out of me. The months of tension, the birthday disaster, being kicked out with nowhere to go. Once I started talking, I couldn't stop. Richard listened in shocked silence. "Jesus, Martin, I don't even have words. Where are you now? Some Marriott off Highway 67. Pack your things. You're coming to our house. The guest room is already made up. I can't impose. It's not imposing when it's friends." Richard cut me off firmly. "Carol would never forgive me if I left you in a hotel after what you've been through. We'll figure things out together." Richard's kindness unleashed the tears I'd been holding back. By the time I hung up, I had agreed to come to their house in the morning. His parting words stayed with me. "This isn't your fault, Martin, and you're not alone." Unable to sleep, I opened my banking app on my phone, something I did habitually to track expenses. What I saw made my blood run cold. Amanda was an authorized user on one of my credit cards, something I'd set up years ago for emergencies. Scrolling through recent transactions, I saw charges that were clearly not emergencies. Expensive restaurants, designer clothing stores, electronics. Thousands of dollars in the past month alone. Further investigation revealed a pattern I'd been too trusting to notice. Regular transfers from my checking account to Amanda and Tyler's joint account, automatic payments I'd set up to help with household expenses, had been steadily increasing in amount. The $2,000 monthly I'd agreed to had somehow become $3,000, then $3,500. Had they been taking advantage of me financially all along? The thought was almost too painful to consider. My daughter, my only child, the person I'd sacrificed so much for, had she seen me as nothing more than a source of income? As dawn broke, I received an unexpected call. It was from a number I didn't recognize. "Grandpa," Sophia's small voice came through the speaker. "Sophia, sweetheart, how are you calling me? I took Mommy's phone," she whispered. "Lucas and I miss you. Why did you leave?" My heart constricted. "I had to go away for a little while, but I'll see you soon." "Daddy said they're going to use your room for a home gym," Lucas chimed in from the background. Before I could respond, I heard Tyler's voice in the distance. "Sophia." "Who are you talking to? Is that my phone?" The call disconnected abruptly. They were already planning to repurpose my room. Less than 12 hours after throwing me out on my birthday, they were erasing all traces of my existence in their home. The final confirmation that I had never been a welcome family member, merely a tolerated guest. A calm clarity washed over me. I opened my email and found the confirmation from Margaret, the travel agent. The luxury Hawaiian vacation I had planned as a surprise gift. Nearly $20,000 of first-class flights, 5-star accommodations, and exclusive experiences sat there in my inbox, fully paid for and refundable. I made 2 phone calls. The first was to my bank, where I requested immediate removal of Amanda as an authorized user on all my accounts and cards, cancellation of all automatic transfers to their joint account, and a complete change of passwords and security questions. The second call was to Margaret. "I'm so sorry, Margaret, but I need to cancel the Hawaii package." "Oh no. Is everything all right, Martin?" "Family circumstances have changed," I said simply. "I understand. The good news is that we're still within the full refund window. The money should be back in your account within 3 to 5 business days." As I hung up, I felt no satisfaction, no vindictive pleasure, just a profound sadness and a growing determination to protect myself from further exploitation. This wasn't revenge, it was self-preservation. The next morning, after a nearly sleepless night, I checked out of the hotel and drove to Richard and Carol's house as promised. Their warm welcome was a stark contrast to my daughter's coldness. Carol hugged me tightly, then busied herself making breakfast, while Richard helped carry my overnight bag to their guest room. "You can stay as long as you need," Carol insisted, placing a plate of eggs and toast in front of me. "We have plenty of room." Over breakfast, I explained my plan to meet with my financial advisor later that day. "I need to make sure all my accounts are secure." Richard nodded grimly. "Smart move. You need to protect yourself." But my appointment with Harold, my financial advisor of 20 years, was at 11. I arrived early, still wearing yesterday's clothes, looking as disheveled as I felt. Harold's expression shifted from professional welcome to concern as soon as he saw me. "Martin, what happened?" I gave him the condensed version. To his credit, Harold didn't waste time with platitudes or expressions of disbelief. Instead, he immediately pulled up my accounts, and we got to work. "First, we need to revoke all access Amanda has to any of your accounts," he said, typing efficiently. "Then, we'll change all passwords and security protocols." Over the next 2 hours, we systematically secured my finances. Harold confirmed what I had discovered in the hotel room. Amanda and Tyler had been steadily increasing their financial dependence on me beyond what I had knowingly agreed to. The automatic transfer to their joint account increased 3 times in the past 4 months, Harold noted. "And these credit card charges," he shook his head. "Martin, they've spent over $12,000 on your card since January." The betrayal cut deep, but I forced myself to focus on solutions rather than pain. We froze the credit cards Amanda had access to, stopped all automatic payments to their accounts, and set up new security measures to prevent unauthorized access. "What about the vacation package?" Harold asked when I mentioned the cancellation. "Fully refunded," I confirmed. I just couldn't go through with giving them such an extravagant gift after what happened. "I don't blame you," Harold said quietly. "Some might call it petty, but I call it consequences. They made their choice when they threw you out." With my finances secured, the next task was finding permanent housing. Richard's offer of their guest room was generous, but I knew I needed my own place. Harold put me in touch with a real estate agent who specialized in condominiums, and by that afternoon, I had 3 promising leads on apartments in my price range. It was during this busy day of reclaiming control over my life that Amanda finally called. I stared at her name on my phone screen, my finger hovering over the answer button. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but I knew we would have to speak eventually. I answered on the 4th ring. "Dad," Amanda's voice was tight with barely controlled anger. "What did you do?" My card was declined at the grocery store. It was humiliating. No greeting, no apology, just immediate accusation. "I canceled the authorized user cards," I said calmly. "After last night, I thought it best to separate our finances." "You can't just do that without warning," she nearly shouted. "We have bills to pay, and what happened to the monthly transfers? Those have been discontinued as well." A moment of shocked silence then. "You're punishing us because we asked for a little space. That's incredibly vindictive." The audacity of her response left me momentarily speechless. "A little space, Amanda, you threw me out of your house on my birthday. You called me a burden. Tyler suggested my heart attack was my own fault. We were stressed. People say things they don't mean when they're stressed, and I make financial decisions to protect myself when I'm homeless," I countered. "Actions have consequences, Amanda. Tyler's voice came on the line. They must have put me on speaker. "Listen, Martin, we can work this out. We were thinking you could stay with my parents for a while. They have that big house and I'm staying with friends," I interrupted, "and I'm looking at apartments today." "Great. That's great," Tyler said with forced enthusiasm. "So about the financial arrangements. There are no arrangements anymore," I said firmly. "You made it very clear last night that you don't want me in your lives. That includes my financial support." Amanda came back on the line, her tone shifting to pleading. "Dad, please, we didn't mean it like that. Of course we want you in our lives. We just need our house back, our privacy." "You have that now," I said, "along with the responsibility of paying your own bills. But what about the kids' tuition? And we were counting on your help with the property taxes next month." The realization that they had been planning their budget around my continued financial support, even while plotting to remove me from their home, was the final straw. "I'll be by tomorrow to collect the rest of my belongings," I said. "Please have them packed and ready." I hung up before they could respond, my hand shaking, but my resolve firm. The next few days were a blur of activity. Richard helped me rent a small moving truck, and together we collected my belongings from Amanda's house. She and Tyler were coldly civil during the process, their anger barely concealed. The children were conveniently away at a friend's house. Amanda's attempt to prevent me from seeing them, I suspected. Within a week, I had signed a lease on a one-bedroom apartment in a pleasant complex about 30 minutes from Amanda's house. It was smaller than what I was used to, but it was mine, and for the first time in months, I felt a sense of peace as I arranged my furniture and hung Eleanor's portrait on the wall. Amanda continued to call and text her messages, oscillating between anger, guilt-tripping, and attempts at reconciliation, all with an undercurrent of trying to restore the financial support she and Tyler had come to depend on. I responded politely, but firmly maintaining the boundaries I had established. 2 weeks after moving into my new apartment, I received a text from Amanda asking to meet for coffee. Against my better judgment, I agreed, suggesting a cafe halfway between our homes. The coffee shop was busy with the morning rush when I arrived. I spotted Amanda already seated in a corner booth, her expression tense as she watched the door. When our eyes met, she gave a small, uncertain wave. I ordered a black coffee at the counter before joining her. The awkward silence as I sat down spoke volumes about how far we had fallen as father and daughter. "You look good, Dad," she finally said, studying me. "The apartment must agree with you." "Independence agrees with me," I replied evenly. "How are you and the family?" Amanda's carefully composed expression cracked slightly. "That's actually why I wanted to talk. Things are complicated right now." "Complicated how?" She stared into her untouched latte. "Tyler and I are having some issues. Financial mostly, but other things too." She glanced up. "He wasn't always like this, you know. Something changed after his promotion last year. The pressure, maybe." I nodded, but said nothing, waiting. "I've been thinking a lot about what happened," she continued. "On your birthday. It was unforgivable, the things we said and did. I don't expect you to forget it, but I wanted to tell you I'm sorry. Truly sorry." The apology sounded genuine, but I'd learned to be cautious. "Thank you for saying that, Amanda. And about the credit cards and everything." She hesitated. "I didn't realize how much we'd come to depend on your help until it was gone. That's not your fault. It's ours. Tyler and I got careless with money, always assuming you'd be there as a safety net." I took a sip of my coffee, giving myself time to consider my response. Financial habits can be changed. It takes discipline, but it can be done. "Tyler doesn't think so," she said quietly. "He's been talking about taking out a second mortgage. When I suggested cutting back on expenses instead, he got angry, said I was the one who wanted the big house and private schools in the first place." For the first time, I noticed how tired she looked, dark circles under her eyes, tension in her shoulders. My anger softened slightly. Has it always been like that between you two? Amanda's eyes welled with unexpected tears. No. Or maybe yes, and I just didn't see it. He's always been ambitious, focused on appearances. I thought it was drive, but now I wonder if it's just emptiness he's trying to fill. We talked for nearly 2 hours. Really talked in a way we hadn't in years. Amanda opened up about the strain in her marriage, how Tyler's spending habits had created debt. She'd been too embarrassed to mention how his status anxiety had driven many of their decisions, including, she finally admitted, the push to get me out of their house. He thought it looked bad to his clients having his father-in-law living with us, she confessed, like we weren't successful enough to stand on our own. He kept saying, "What will people think?" "And what did you think?" I asked gently. "I let him influence me," she admitted. "I've been doing that for years, I realize now. Seeing things through his eyes instead of my own." She reached across the table tentatively. "The kids miss you terribly. Sophia asks about you every day." "I miss them too," I said. The ache of separation from my grandchildren still fresh. Would you be willing to see them? Maybe they could visit your new place." I considered this. "Yes, I'd like that. But Amanda, I need to be clear about something. I'm willing to work on rebuilding our relationship, yours and mine, and my relationship with the children. But I won't be providing financial support anymore. Not for tuition, not for mortgage payments, not for credit card bills." She nodded slowly. "I understand. That's not why I reached out, I promise. I just want my dad back in my life, in the kids' lives. And Tyler, what does he want?" Her expression hardened slightly. "He suggested I try to smooth things over with you. His exact words were, 'We need to get your dad back on board.' Meaning back to subsidizing your lifestyle," I translated. "Yes," she admitted. "But that's not what I want. I just want my family whole again, whatever that looks like now." We parted with a tentative plan for her to bring the children to visit that weekend. As I watched her walk to her car, I felt a complicated mixture of hope and wariness. The daughter I'd raised was still in there somewhere, but the road to rebuilding trust would be long. That Saturday, Amanda brought Sophia and Lucas to my apartment. Their excited chatter filled the space as they explored every corner, asking questions about where I slept, why my kitchen was so small, where I kept my books. Their innocent curiosity healed something in me that I hadn't realized was still bleeding. We spent the day playing board games, making cookies, and taking a walk to the park near my complex. Amanda was subdued, but pleasant, making an effort to engage without the tension of our recent past. When she mentioned they should get going before dinner, Sophia protested. "But I want to stay with Grandpa." "You'll see Grandpa again soon," Amanda promised, giving me a questioning look. "Right, Dad. Absolutely," I confirmed, kneeling to hug my grandchildren. "This isn't goodbye. It's just see you later." As they prepared to leave, Amanda hesitated at the door. "Tyler's working late tonight. He doesn't know we came here." The implication was clear and concerning. "Amanda, if you need help, not money, but support of other kinds, I'm here." She nodded, blinking back tears before ushering the children to the car. Our relationship began to heal slowly over the following months. Weekly visits with the grandchildren became a cherished routine. Sometimes Amanda would stay for the visit. Other times she would drop them off and run errands, returning hours later to collect them. I noticed changes in my daughter, subtle at first, then more pronounced. She cut her hair short, started wearing less makeup, dressed more casually. Small rebellions, perhaps, against Tyler's emphasis on appearances. She mentioned enrolling in a financial literacy course at the community college and finding a therapist to work through some personal issues. 3 months after moving into my apartment, Amanda called me on a Tuesday evening, her voice shaking. "Dad, can we come over?" "All of us tonight." "Of course. Is everything all right?" "I'll explain when we get there." They arrived an hour later, Amanda and both children with suitcases and backpacks. Tyler was noticeably absent. As the children settled in front of the TV with a movie, Amanda and I talked in the kitchen. "I asked him to leave," she said simply. "Or rather, I told him I was leaving with the kids. He made me choose, his way or my family, including you." I was stunned. "Amanda, I never wanted to come between you and your husband." "You didn't," she said firmly. "Tyler's priorities did. Money, status, appearances. They've always mattered more to him than people. I just couldn't see it clearly until recently." She took a deep breath. "We're staying with my friend Kate tonight, then looking for an apartment this weekend. I've already consulted a lawyer about separation. You know you can stay here if needed," I offered. She shook her head. "We need to do this on our own. I need to do this on my own. But I wanted you to know first, and I wanted the kids to see you. They need stability right now." In that moment, looking at my daughter's determined face, I saw Eleanor's strength shining through. The woman I'd raised had found her way back to her true self. 6 months after the birthday, that changed everything, my life had transformed in ways I never could have predicted. My apartment, once a refuge of necessity, had become a true home. I'd made friends in the complex, mostly retirees like myself, who gathered for weekly card games and morning coffee. My health improved dramatically with the reduction in stress. Regular walks, a heart-healthy diet, and peaceful evenings had done wonders for my blood pressure. At my last checkup, my doctor had actually reduced my medication. Most importantly, my relationship with Amanda and my grandchildren had not only been repaired, but had grown stronger through adversity. Amanda had found a modest 3-bedroom apartment across town and was adjusting to life as a single parent. She'd received a promotion at work and had started taking classes toward an MBA, a dream she'd abandoned years ago at Tyler's insistence that it wasn't necessary. Tyler had initially fought the separation, then shifted to demanding an unreasonable financial settlement. When Amanda stood firm, supported by her lawyer, and privately coached by me on negotiation tactics, he eventually agreed to more equitable terms. The divorce proceedings were underway, complicated, but progressing. On a warm Saturday in June, exactly 6 months after being thrown out on my birthday, I hosted a special dinner in my apartment. Amanda arrived with the children bearing a homemade cake and gifts. "A belated birthday celebration," she explained with a smile. 6 months late, but better than never. We enjoyed a simple meal together, laughing and talking as the sun set outside my window. When the kids were occupied with dessert, Amanda handed me an envelope. "What's this?" I asked, opening it to find a check. "It's the first repayment," she said quietly. "I calculated how much Tyler and I took advantage of financially. It'll take time to repay all of it, but I'm committed to making it right." I pushed the check back toward her. "Keep it for the kids' education fund, or your MBA tuition." "Dad, please. This is important to me. Not just the money, but what it represents. Taking responsibility." I understood then that this was part of her healing process, as necessary for her as establishing boundaries had been for me. I accepted the check with a nod. "There's something else I want to talk about," she continued. "I found the Hawaii vacation package in your closet when we were packing your things. Margaret, the travel agent, called last week about some mix-up with the refund processing." I'd almost forgotten about the canceled vacation amid everything else. "That was going to be my gift to you all," I explained. "I was planning to surprise you the night of my birthday." Amanda's eyes filled with tears. "Even after how we'd been treating you." "Oh, Dad." "It doesn't matter now," I said gently. "It matters to me," she insisted. It shows who you are, and who we were. She took a deep breath. I've been saving, not for anything as extravagant as Hawaii, but for a small family vacation. Maybe a long weekend at that lake resort where we used to go when I was little. The kids would love it, and she hesitated. I'd really like you to come with us. The invitation touched me deeply, not because I particularly needed a vacation, but because it represented a new chapter in our relationship, one built on mutual respect rather than financial dependence. I'd be honored, I said, but on one condition: we split the cost equally. Amanda smiled. Deal. Partners, not dependents. As we cleared the dinner dishes together, I reflected on the painful journey that had brought us to this point. The humiliation of being called a burden and thrown out on my birthday had been the lowest point of my life since losing Eleanor. But from that rock bottom had come unexpected growth, for both Amanda and me. I'd learned about setting boundaries, about the difference between generosity and enabling, about standing up for my worth, even when it meant temporary pain. Amanda had learned about financial independence, about recognizing unhealthy influences, about the true meaning of family. Later that evening, after Amanda and the children had gone home, I sat on my small balcony, watching the stars emerge. I thought about the $20,000 vacation I'd canceled in a moment of justified hurt. It had seemed like a simple act of self-protection at the time, but it had become the catalyst for something much more valuable than any luxury resort could offer: authentic family bonds based on love and respect rather than financial obligation. Sometimes the most painful rejections lead us exactly where we need to be. I was no longer anyone's burden. I was a father, a grandfather, a friend, valued for who I was, as not for what I could provide. If you've ever been called a burden by someone who should have treasured you, remember that their words reflect their limitations, not your worth. Have you ever had to set difficult boundaries with family? Share your experience in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if this story resonated with you. Sometimes the hardest decisions lead to the most meaningful healing. Thank you for joining me on this journey of rediscovery and self-respect.